Are you a good boy? Hmm? Are you a good boy? Hey guys, welcome back. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate you all so very much. In today's video, I have a couple of updates to give you all. I have moved some plants around, and I also want to give you some updates on some propagations as well. So let's get into the video. We are going to start in the living room. And the other day, my husband and I went to Lowe's and I purchased another plant stand. So I took my purple passion from this table here and I moved it over to the plant stand. I also brought in my ruby ficus elastica from my sunroom and brought it into the living room where I can enjoy it a little bit more. So I've moved these plants around just a little bit. This burgundy ficus elastica was towards the back, and then the purple passion was sitting right where the burgundy ficus elastica was. So just a little switch here, and this is what it's currently looking like. My fiddle leaf fig was getting quite tall, so I did cut a piece off of the top there because I really don't want my fiddle leaf fig getting too tall. I kind of like it the size that it's at right now. It just kind of works for my space. So that's kind of just a little pan over of what that looks like. And if we move over here, I brought my Thanksgiving cactus in from my sunroom as well. This is a plant that I featured just not long ago. I pruned this guy up quite a bit. So that's what this guy is looking like currently. Okay, so if we move over to the right side of the living room, there's a little peek at my spider plant. Throwing off lots of babies. Kind of backlit there, guys. Spider plant. Come over here. Right here we have a pretty shady. Kitty, 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 kitty. Pretty boy. Let's see here. So this is just a little pan over of what this is looking like. So back here, I have my little Tradescantia Nanook that was in my sunroom as well, and I brought that into the living room just so I can keep a better eye on it. It is getting some new growth. All those little brown bits were there when I purchased this plant. There were actually a couple of these guys when I purchased this one at Home Depot. I wish I would have grabbed another just so I could put the two of them together to make a fuller pot. But they're pretty quick growers, so in time. Back here is my little Peperomia prostrata, my string of turtles. That one is doing great as well. Over here, I have my Monstera Addin. This guy was getting some yellow leaves a little while back. So I did take a few cuttings from it, and they are rooting. And once they get some roots on them, I will be placing them back into this pot. The yellowing has since stopped. I'm kind of finding this one to be a little bit on the finicky side. Not quite sure why, but I've definitely really been trying to zero in on the watering so as to not overwater or underwater. But it's doing all right, I guess, for the most part. If we come down here, this is my prayer plant that about a month ago, I overwatered this guy. It was in a larger ceramic pot. I overwatered it and I forgot to empty the water out of the attached tray. So it sat in water for quite some time and ended up getting some root rot. So I potted it up into this terracotta pot, which I know it probably won't do well in this pot for very long, only because this terracotta pot is going to wick away a lot of moisture, and these guys really are moisture loving plants. But since I overwatered it, I figured that placing it in this terracotta pot until the roots are more stable and reestablished, I figured that would be a good idea. So, and it's doing okay for now. This guy here, my oxalis, I noticed about a week ago that it had some aphids on it. So it's since been treated about twice, and I will probably end up treating this guy with some neem probably in another day or so. So I have been keeping a good eye on this one, because we don't need those aphids coming back. So that is it for the living room plants. As far as any updates, for the most part, everything is doing well. So let's move on into the sunroom. Okay, real quick here in the kitchen, these are some of my propagations. Right there I have the top of my fiddle leaf fig. I have some Hoya carnosa rubra in there, Philodendron Brazil. There's also some pearls and jade in there as well. Over here I have some Cebu blue cuttings, some Monstera, some regular green philodendron, heartleaf philodendron cuttings in there as well. And over here I've got some more prayer plant. It kind of looks like it's got a browning leaf here. And some more philodendron scandens. Okay, so in here is my jewel orchid, my Macotes petala. Kind of hard to see. There's lots of moisture in there. And you can see, I think, right on the bottom there, right here, that's a new growth point. There we go. So pretty. Yep, all of that right here is new. There we go. Okay, so here in my sunroom, this is my husband's, it's another colocasia. It's going to be an elephant ear. This one is doing great. I did have it covered with some saran wrap, but it seems to be doing well enough now that I don't think we need it. This plant here is my Tradescantia, what is this one called? Moses in a Cradle. And this is a plant that I featured not too long ago, several weeks ago, that was in this planter here. And it was getting quite leggy in the center, so I completely cut this plant back. What is in this pot right here are all cuttings, and it is getting some new growth. So this one is all cuttings. In this pot here is actually the root ball to this plant. So I completely cut this one down to just the very base of the plant, and this is all new growth coming up from this guy. So pretty. Look at those colors, just beautiful. I did have some extra cuttings as well from this plant that I have since given to someone else. So I had so many cuttings from just this one plant, and I'm so pleased at how this one is doing right now. It looks beautiful. Let's see, any more updates? This is my Moonlight Philodendron from my friend Adele over at Lifeaholic. I'm going to be repotting this one soon because every time I water it, it does seem to dry out quite quickly. So it's time for a new pot for this guy. Right here is my Hoya Rebecca. No new growth yet, but it's still alive, so that's a good thing. Let's see here. Everything is doing all right back here for the most part. My Hoya obtusifolia splash. I put this little guy on, oh, just a little stake. Tied it up. It's doing good. My Philodendron Birkin back there. It's doing great. Putting on some new leaves. Super pretty. And if we come over here, the spider plant, ugh. When I repotted this guy a couple of months back, I should have placed it into a, I don't know whether I should have placed it into a bigger pot, or I probably should have completely I should have just split this plant because it's huge. This one is my Hawaiian Spider. So I may end up having to repot this one again before the growing season is over. We shall see, I guess. Here is my string of hearts, the Serrapegia woodii. All of this is new growth here. It was barely trailing when I purchased this plant a couple of weeks ago. Super fast grower this guy is. I also moved my Hoya Macrophylla variegata over to this window. This is a west-facing window. It has started to lose the variegation a little bit. The leaves are kind of mostly green on a couple, and I don't want it to lose all the variegation, so I moved it over to this window, which is a little bit sunnier, in hopes to save some of that variegation on those leaves. Over here on this table, back here are all of the string of bananas cuttings that I took from my mother plant several weeks ago. That was also a video that I uploaded as well. All of these cuttings are doing well. They've got some new growth on them. So pleased about that. Here is a purple passion plant. These are cuttings. I soil propagated these and they're doing good. One thing about the purple passion plants, when you do soil propagate them, initially the leaves will start to wilt down a little bit, but don't get discouraged because that happens when you soil propagate, or it has happened most times for me. The leaves will wilt back a little bit and then they will spring back up. So this guy is doing fine now. And these here are all of my Thanksgiving cacti propagations. I also did a little video on that where I pruned my large Thanksgiving cactus back, and I took all of the cuttings and propagated them into little mugs. So they're all doing great. Okay guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you all have a fantastic day or evening, depending on where you're located. I hope you all are safe and healthy. I love you all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.